Hello, Internet, YouTube. Hello, people of conscience. I thought I'd make a video. It's been a little while again. As you see, I'm busy. I'm making my Pacific paintings, and I'll do another video with my work. It's proceeding. It's progressing. I'm making work based on our situation since 3/11/11, when Fukushima blew up. Reactors went into meltdown, melt out, melt through, whatever they do, these nuclear generators, when they don't work, producing the most lethal substances ever known to, not just on this planet, in the entire cosmos. We are the laughing stock in the cosmos. If there is other life, intelligent life out there, I'm sure there is, and if they're even interested in someone or a group of life forms called humanity. By the way, in my Dead Men Standing, it's a series of paintings I made. I started before 3/11/11. In November of 2010, I began this series of Dead Men Standing. How prophetic is that? And I used, on this particular one, I used Gaddafi. And anyway, the idea that we're producing toxic materials that are nowhere else in the cosmos as far as smart science is concerned, people, thoughtful people that reflect on our situation, and we have not discovered the fission process, nuclear fission, to exist anywhere else other than on this planet, because we invented it. Some smartass invented it, and we say, bravo, Mr. Einstein, Marie Curie, Rutherford, all wonderful. Yeah, you can find a lot of reasons to like these people, but I have no regard. I have no like. I prefer, as I've always said, mud huts and wood shoes if it means getting rid of this toxic material on our planet. And I just wanted to make this video to keep my presence within this genre of YouTube, and to make my commentary and my thoughts, and the people that do watch sometimes, to show the work that I'm involved in painting wise. And I'm making paintings. A big painting there, yeah, they're kind of curious. They have a crystalline feel to them now. They're starting to deviate, like I always do. When I work on paintings, I go in directions. I go in different directions. I make work that challenges me. And I think it is a microcosm, macrocosm. I challenge myself because we are challenged. We're always challenged. As human beings, we're trying to become better. Well, the ones that aren't sociopaths and psychopaths, what I call people of conscience, want to be better. They want to improve their lives and the lives of future generations to make a contribution. This is kind of like the 101 of existence for us as people, thoughtful people, have this innate desire to make the place better in some way. And if you deviate from that to try and make the place better because of whatever reason you come up with, the demented reasons, there is no rational thinking, thoughtful person that would say, create the most lethal toxic substances and then cross your fingers. If you're still sort of thinking you're on the level, your great philosophy is the theory of politeness and crossing your fingers. Politeness theory and cross your finger theory, whatever that, what university teaches that? The university of dumbass degenerates. So anyway, yeah, I can easily go off in a rant, because it is frustrating and upsetting that after over 5 years, this nuclear power plant in Fukushima has been completely destroyed, and they put some facade forward. They pretend that they're doing something and nothing is being done. But that's not the point. Here in Ontario, I want to alert, I'm going to attach a link at the bottom. There is an organization, what are they called? I'm going to tell you what they're called. I'll attach a link. They are holding a Green Future, Ontario Green Future. It's an organization, and there's a meeting at a town hall July 25th. I will try and make this meeting to discuss the shutting down of the Pickering Power Station. Nuclear, it's a megalithic it's like a decrepit power plant from the 60s that's still running, and OPG, Ontario Power Generation, wants to relicense it for another 7 or 8, 10 years. It should have been mothballed 10 years ago. It was only designed to work for 30 years, and now it's 45 years, and they want to continue. So this group is convening, or is part of a meeting to discuss shutting down this power plant. And it's not the only one. There's another one that was commissioned, I think, built in 1981, called the Darlington Power Plant in just down the road, 20 kilometers east of the Pickering Station, on our pristine, used to be pristine, beautiful Lake Ontario. And these power plants, between them, have almost 7 gigawatts of production capacity. You can imagine the spent fuel out of these things, what is sitting on site, because they don't know what to do with it. OPG wants to bury all their shit under Lake Huron. Another power plant, the Bruce, which itself produces the same amount of power, one plant, as these 2 gigantic other power plants. Over 6 gigawatts of power, which is 1,000 megawatts, which is a lot of goddamn power, because a diesel train produces, I think, about 5 megawatts of power, like a really strong diesel train. So you can imagine what these things are capable of putting out. Anyway, I'm going to attach a link. I'm going to try to be there if possible. I have obligations here. It's a little bit hectic for me these days. So in my Dead Men Standing shirt, and my last comment after, please check out the links that I'm going to attach below on this activity by a very noble group. And I'm going to attach another YouTube by a guy called Mark Mattson, who is a lawyer who's been involved in shutting these places down and explaining to people that nuclear is neither clean, safe, or cheap. And he's a wonderful person. I'm going to attach this video that he made in 2012. And what I want to just end off, what I want to say, and you know, people that have been watching me, the idea that I have in terms of succeeding in this effort, this global effort, it is a macrocosm, microcosm situation that every single soul within this community of people of conscience, what I say, people who want to do the right thing, and doing the right thing is connected to us leaving the place better than when we got here. So if we don't make some kind of an effort towards that end, a contribution towards making this an experience that improves the lives of the generations that are going to come after us, right now we're in a complete depraved state of destroying everything. It's completely irrational. It goes counter to it's counterintuitive. Our nature is such that we have abilities and powers, talents, wonderful attributes as human beings that are lying dormant because we bought the pablum of some sociopathic, psychopathic degenerates who are living the high life on our dime, We are the producers. They can't wipe their own asses. These criminals that run these organizations, the nuclear criminal syndicate, and all the criminals that are involved in destroying the ecology of this planet, they need us. They need us. Now, my point is not to go off on a tirade, an angry tirade, which I should actually, because it does make me feel better to be able to just sort of say it, even if one person hears it occasionally. But it's not as important as actually being rational and clear and motivated. And here's what I feel is the problem that we have as the people of conscience. What we're facing, we have our own innate abilities and desires to make a difference. And we often wonder, and people I talk to that are involved in trying to make a difference, we often wonder, why is it so difficult and why are we so ineffectual? Like in my own situation of attempting to not only I'm making the work, and hopefully through my experience over 45 years, I can serve you something in a painting that is of interest and value. You're going to reflect and find yourself more, hopefully more enriched by it. This is my premise why I make paintings. And the idea that in my case, I'm unable to attract attention, especially if I put in the title anything nuclear or Fukushima. There is no interest in this work whatsoever. There is almost like a shutdown. It's like a blinder, even with people that apparently have rationale and ability to digest and chew on stuff. They just shut down. It's a built-in mechanism, and I'm going to tell you why I believe this is happening, why we're having such a difficult time, and why we feel so ineffectual in this. And that is because what I have said. It's not that the information isn't out there. It's not that we don't have the facts. The facts, man. Sergeant Friday. We have the facts. We have the facts not only from the point of view that people are telling us these facts, like Dana Durnford, dissecting the situation with proof and investigation, that we're in trouble, people. And I will attach Dana's nuclearproctologist.org website below as well. The fact is that our ineffectualness, like in a global sense, why is it that people cannot feel that desire to rally around this monumental, catastrophic situation that we're in? The event. This is an event of epic proportions, unfolding on our watch right now. And why? I'm going to come to it, my conclusion, and people have heard me say this before, but I'm going to articulate it, what it is we're facing in terms of not having the effectiveness. And it's because there is a much larger context to this in terms of existence itself. Life is part of existence. Existence is kind of that, what the gurus like to refer to as consciousness. And it is not the final frontier, what I've always said. Consciousness is what contains existence. But it's not the final frontier as far as humanity, you and I, is concerned. I don't know about other creatures. What is at stake is for us, in some form or other, to attach ourselves to something that is larger than me, something that feels larger than me. So we pick on the clans, the tribes, we pick on social groups, our hockey team, our glee club, our bridge teams, our sports events, we attach ourselves to something that feels bigger. It makes us feel like we have a purpose. In my sense, it's making paintings, being connected to a larger extended family. And it goes all the way back to Altamira and the people that created this sculpture. This is a replica of one of the oldest sculptures that exist on this planet, almost 30,000 years old, the Venus of Willendorf, that my colleagues, I call them my colleagues, my extended family, sat there whittling away of making a sculpture that connected them to something, a feeling. They reproduced through a metaphor, through a symbol, through an object like that, through a painting, that connects us to something larger than ourselves. Now, the idea that, yes, you can pick on your social groups and your whatever that is that gives you a feeling of connection to something, there is what I would say an a priori feeling within this, which is we are contained within a mystery. We have no explanation. We have desires, impulses to be connected. This is natural. This is part of a relationship. When we have relationships, it gives us a feeling of connectedness, of friendship that we have. And why is it that we're having such a difficult time to accomplish basic tasks of survival? This goes throughout all of history. All of history has taught us unfortunately through a lot of pain and suffering, through wars, that there is a desire to survive. And how insane is it to try and kill anybody to survive yourself? To delight in the misfortunes of others to make myself feel better is never going to work. But there is this innate desire in all living creatures. It appears to be among all living creatures to survive. The desire to survive. And this is a fundamental quality of being alive, that we have this instinct, whatever you want to call it. But then after this happens, something has gone awry amok in a very large sense. I'm talking about 7 billion people complicit in the destruction of the Pacific Ocean. And I'm saying everybody knows. Everybody knows. Every individual. And now you may not have the facts and the information, but everybody intuitively knows, because we have this sort of tradition or history or genetics, whatever you want to call it. We are within this mystery and we understand this. And what is it that separates us from doing the things we're attempting to do or want to do? What is it that separates us now from this mystery? More and more and more, through diversions, through all those things. And I say, and it's a very simple, straightforward process, and that is to invoke the most primal, our most fundamental quality that allows us to call ourselves human beings and not primate apes or whales or dolphins. And I'm not interested in comparing ourselves, but I'm saying what makes me feel me as a human being with other fellow human beings is my ability to invoke conscience, to do the right thing every day. This is not just the big mega projects of stopping the nuclear criminals from continuing to destroy everything, but every day on a very individual level, whether it's in the checkout line at the food mart, when you see a person being abused, a child being pummeled because they're fidgety, or whatever that is, we need to speak out. We need to act our conscience, which always tells us when we're doing something wrong, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath. It's innate, and it wakes up. I remember, I think it sort of occurred to me when I was when I was 5-6 years old, under certain circumstances, I began to have an inkling of this. Not because somebody told me on stone tablets to do this or that, and 10 of them, I need to have 10 little rules that tell me what to do and what not to do etched into a stone tablet. How ridiculous is that? But this is a day-to-day thing that is something we are losing the inner battle to invoke this part of us, which is why we're becoming more and more separate from each other and the other creatures on this planet, because we can't invoke it in our day-to-day lives. Not enough. We need to work on it. It's a constant work. It's a constant effort to continue to do this, and to say, well, I'm gonna go in I'm gonna do an epic battle like Durnford, doing this epic thing, and he needs to be supported in all his efforts. He needs to be supported financially, emotionally, spiritually. These people need our help, but even more so, that in each individual person, this is the only conclusion I have, and if I have a better insight, I'll let you know. But when all this is going to fall into place is when more and more people begin to do the right thing every day. Not expect somebody else to do it somewhere else, but in every single act that we perform, whether it's when we go to work, whether when we play, when we meet, when we have gatherings, when we do something, when we garden, whatever it might be, when we make paintings, they are rooted in this feeling that I'm acting my conscience. I'm doing something to fundamentally change the wrongs, whichever way I can. And in my case, what obviously I'm trying to do is I'm trying to live up to the history of brilliance of people who use that ability, who use that part of us, which is absolutely unique. I believe it's absolutely unique, and take it to the next level, to take this to the next level. I want to take this to the next level, whatever that is. And all the great artists have always done that. So, and the great artists were people of conscience. You just look at the during the Nazi era, you know, Hitler really pummeled the artists at that time, and they had to flee. People had to run away because they were not allowed to act their conscience, and if they did, they were pummeled, they were done to. So anyway, that's my point, and I'm going to attach the links down below, and hopefully I'll be able to make it to the town hall information down below, and hope you can come too. If you're in Ontario near Toronto, show up, show yourself.